Good evening. My name is Bonnie Chambers-Sadler, and I am an instructional specialist with both the Division of Consortia Choice and Application Programs and Services, TC-CAPS, and Accelerated and Enriched Instruction, AEI. It is my pleasure to be with you this evening to talk about the Centers for Enriched Studies. This is our agenda for the evening. I am fortunate to be joined by other staff members who will be taking different parts of this presentation to help give you a full picture of the continuum of literacy enrichment services available in elementary schools, both at the local school and in the Centers for Enriched Studies, including the instructional approach and academic environment, answers to some frequently asked questions, and key steps in the timeline for the criteria-based lottery process. First, Christy Clark, the supervisor of Accelerated and Enriched Instruction, will share some information about enrichment at your local school and the rationale for the Centers for Enriched Studies. Take it away, Christy.
Thank you, Bonnie. The use of research-based curriculum and instructional practices is an essential part of providing a quality education for all students. The Maryland College and Career Ready Standards define what students should know and be able to do at each grade level. However, their impact on student learning depends upon their implementation. Rigor is more than what is taught, it's how it is taught and how students are able to demonstrate their understanding. It is critical for us to differentiate for highly able learners in each subject area. MCPS has identified explicit opportunities for students to access enrichment within their local grade level classroom across all subject areas. Now I'll provide a little more information about the instructional resources and approaches grounded in gifted research available for advanced learners in the local classroom. In reading language arts, all students read a range of texts from a variety of genres to develop and strengthen students' depth of understanding during small group instruction. Novel studies and literature circles can be used to enhance the core curriculum. Several supplementary resources grounded in gifted education may also be used to provide enrichment as needed. One example is multicultural selections from junior grade books that have a distinct focus on the use of questioning, reasoning, literary analysis, and higher level discourse. In mathematics, enrichment is available within Eureka Math, also known as Honing the Lesson, and outlines the structures within the math curriculum necessary to meet the enrichment needs of advanced learners. Teachers using the curriculum are trained to make purposeful choices to customize learning tasks by incorporating research-based strategies to meet the instructional needs within the grade level content. The science curriculum is based on the next generation science standards and includes tasks for enrichment to provide further investigation of topics of study. Finally, the social studies curriculum presents students with opportunities to read primary and secondary source documents, research historical events, and apply their learning in a variety of ways. Starting in the 2023-2024 school year, the Enriched Literacy Curriculum, or ELC, will be available in all elementary schools. The ELC is a local school enrichment program in grades 4 and 5. It began in response to the need for more advanced programming than was available at the Centers for Enriched Studies and uses a gifted and talented curriculum designed to provide learning experiences in reading language arts similar to those available in the Centers for Enriched Studies. The ELC teaches grade level standards. However, the resources, implementation approaches, and pacing are different than the core curriculum and typical grade level instruction. Concepts, skills, and strategies are usually taught at a faster pace. The curriculum connects social studies and science topics of studies wherever possible, allowing for more in-depth study and application of learning. The Enriched Literacy curriculum uses many of the same texts as the Centers for Enriched Studies Reading Language Arts curriculum, as well as supplemental research-based instructional materials, including junior gradebooks, Jacob's Ladder, and a literacy unit from the College of William and Mary. The MSDE instructional standards are rigorous, and our local schools provide enrichment across content areas. In addition, our continuum of programs and services for highly able learners also includes regional programs. The Centers for Enriched Studies provide an enriched and accelerated instructional program specifically designed for highly able students and help ensure students are offered an appropriate level and pace of instruction grounded in gifted research. While using instructional practices and program models recommended by gifted research, the centers provide an advanced integrated curriculum for students who exhibit some of the following traits: exceptional content reasoning, advanced vocabulary, and advanced written expression, continual curiosity, intrinsic motivation, persistence, and independence, academic performance above grade level in one or more areas. The Centers of Enriched Studies are currently located in 9 regional sites and 4 local sites. Each regional center draws from a defined set of high school clusters and are located at the following elementary schools: Lucy V. Barnsley, Chevy Chase, Clear Spring, Cold Spring, Dr. Charles Drew, Fox Chapel, Mill Creek Town, Oak View, and Pinecrest Elementary Schools. Local centers are currently located at the following schools: Spark M. Matsunaga, Piney Branch, Rachel Carson, and Stonegate Elementary Schools. Now, it is my pleasure to turn this over to Elise Antoine, Instructional Specialist for Accelerated and Enriched Instruction.
The centers provide enrichment and acceleration in the core academic areas to ensure students are offered an appropriate level and pace of instruction. Acceleration of instruction means that students are given a curriculum that is at a higher level than the core curriculum. The information is more complex or more information is covered. The material is presented more rapidly than in typical instruction, and students receive more challenging material than what is usually received with on-grade level material. Enrichment means giving students the opportunity to learn in greater depth and breadth. The CES instructional program for science and social studies is based on the core curriculum, but includes enrichment opportunities for students to engage in further in-depth tasks, problem-based learning, and independent study. The CES literacy curriculum provides opportunities for students to investigate content that goes beyond the core curriculum to apply and extend learning. The culmination of this is the end-of-year gemstone project that students develop, which synthesizes their learning. The students determine the focus of the project and collaborate with peers to develop a unique product to showcase their learning. Past gemstone projects have included TED Talks, original plays, operas, science expos, art exhibits, and Shark Tank. Student choice to foster motivation, independence, and tap into areas of personal interest are often present in the center's curriculum and instructional program. This allows students to set goals and demonstrate understanding in a variety of ways appropriate to varying learner needs. The center curriculum is based on the grade level Maryland State Standards and Frameworks for Literacy, Social Studies, and the Next Generation Science Standards. The center curriculum is made up of interdisciplinary units that develop concepts, themes, and essential ideas within and across disciplines as students make meaningful and real-world connections. There will be opportunities and expectations for students to learn at an accelerated pace, to learn in depth, and to apply their learning within and across content areas. This facilitates the transfer and application of knowledge and skills as students strengthen higher order thinking and problem-solving skills. The curriculum utilizes above grade level, research-based instructional resources from the Great Books Foundation, College of William and Mary Center for Gifted Education, and Harvard University's Project Zero Artful Thinking. Supplementary resources include the use of advanced novels that explore diverse characters, perspectives, and issues, print and digital texts such as articles, plays, videos, and art prints related to social studies and science content. Gifted research indicates that concept-based curriculum is best practice in providing gifted students with a challenging and meaningful curriculum. Conceptual teaching includes discovering generalizations, understanding essential understandings, and answering guiding questions. This framework promotes higher-level thinking, and its engaging approach to teaching enriches student thinking and learning. It focuses on providing students with opportunities to think abstractly and to make meaningful connections, rather than focusing on isolated skills and topics. At grade 4, the center curriculum concepts include culture, adaptation, change, and journeys. At grade 5, the center curriculum concepts include conflict, choices and consequences, patterns, and evidence and authenticity. These concepts are universal and move students toward higher levels of learning. Engaging students in active learning creates connections to students' prior experience, brings relevance to student learning, and facilitates deeper understanding of content knowledge, and acts as a springboard for students to respond to their learning. The teacher's main role in the classroom is not a dispenser of knowledge, but as a facilitator or coach of learning and exploration. Through inquiry, students explore and use their own questions to guide their learning through discussion, debate, project-based learning, interest-based research, and self-reflection. Students regularly engage in academic conversations and develop an openness to new perspectives and ideas. Students develop efficient and effective research skills through group collaboration and independent study. Teachers use flexible instructional groupings to allow students to access appropriate levels of challenge and complexity, while providing access to advanced content and an academic peer group. Students may also experience between-class grouping for the core content areas of social studies, science, and mathematics. Students in the center program follow the same daily schedule as their grade level counterparts. They participate in mathematics and literature instruction daily and have science, social studies, and specials such as art, music, and PE throughout the week. Students may receive instruction in the core subject areas from one or multiple center teachers if the school chooses to departmentalize. Teachers integrate technology into their daily instruction, such as the use of Chromebooks, Promethean boards, and various online digital resources and platforms to interact with students and their peers. The literacy curriculum is the hallmark of the center program. Students read literature anthologies that explore concepts by presenting an essential question and providing students with a variety of texts across multiple genres. Students may respond to reading through shared inquiry discussion, debate, journaling, peer dialogue, and written responses to reading. Students regularly participate in literature circles and book clubs in small groups. Students may be assigned a text or select from an approved book list of titles that relate to the concept or theme being studied for the marking period. Students study author's craft to further develop their writing and research skills. Students write for a variety of purposes and create original products. Students may demonstrate their learning through a variety of authentic products such as short stories, poetry, memoirs, graphic novels, public service announcements, informational posters, feature articles, issue-based research, and oral or visual presentations. This is just a sampling of the types of learning tasks that students will experience in the center classrooms. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Holly Gilbertson, principal of Clear Spring Elementary School.
Thank you, Elise. Greetings. My name is Holly Gilbertson. I am the principal at Clear Spring Elementary School, which houses a Center for Enriched Studies at 4th and 5th grades. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the participation at the local school once you come to us for the center program. Students may switch in between classrooms. Our groups with the students are fluid and flexible. What that means for us is that students may begin with a homeroom teacher who could also happen to be the reading and social studies teacher, and then go to a different teacher for math and science. That being said, if we find that your child has some needs that aren't being met in that specific group, we would switch your child to the other classroom so that their needs can be effectively met. For our math instruction, we do follow the MCPS curriculum, which at this time for all schools in Montgomery County is the Eureka curriculum. And your child will be either placed in the 4th grade curriculum or within the 4-5 compacted math class. Teachers in the spring and 3rd grade will recommend where your child will go and will follow your local school recommendation. All students and parents and guardians will become participating members of the Center for Enriched Studies program at that school. They'll continue to participate in their weekly specials, their art, music, instrumental music, and PE. We really work very closely with our students at the beginning of the school year, especially in 4th grade, to make sure that the students are creating those friendships beyond just those students in the center. We really want them to feel like a part of the school, not the CES program versus our school. So we really work very hard to get the students to work together. They'll do some field trips, which may be with the entire grade level, which would include the local school, or it could just be within their center program. But each field trip is really based on the curriculum and that specific center program. Your student is also able to participate in any of our after-school programs, which could be a piano class. There may be some art types of activities, Girls on the Run, that kind of thing. But just remember that transportation is not provided outside of the local school boundary.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbertson. Now that you've learned a little bit more about the Centers for Enriched Studies, we're going to take a moment to go through the admissions process. In late December, all families received a letter with information about the program and the admissions process. The process begins with a central review of academic data for all current MCPS 3rd grade students. The multiple measures used in the central review will be from the current school year and will include report card data, measures of academic progress in reading, commonly known as the MAP-R, and instructional reading level. Student services will also be considered. Private and homeschooled students who live in Montgomery County may also be considered for the Centers for Enriched Studies. Please visit our website for more information and directions for submitting your academic data to be part of the central review process. After student data has been collected and reviewed, the students who demonstrate an academic need for enriched literacy instruction based on the criteria will be placed in a candidate pool. The data submitted by private and homeschool students and from students who are new to MCPS and may be missing data will be reviewed by a professional review panel to determine if these students meet the criteria to be included in the candidate pool. Once all student data has been reviewed and the candidate pool has been created, a computerized lottery will be run for each of the CES sites. Students who are part of the candidate pool will also be recommended for the enriched literacy curriculum at their home school. These students will remain in the lottery wait pool. As vacancies occur at CES sites, additional students will be invited from the wait pool. Families will be notified about the results of the central review and the lottery in April. Please remember that there is a limited number of seats in each program. MCPS provides transportation to and from CES sites from centralized stops. These centralized stops are often at neighborhood elementary schools and may be several miles from your home. Parents are responsible for getting students to and from the centralized stops. Bus trips to and from school may vary in length and will likely be longer than what students are used to. Some bus routes are close to an hour each way. It is important to consider transportation logistics as you think about if the CES is right for your student. Before we move on to our panel discussion, I'm going to address a few of the most frequently asked questions about the CES admissions process. The question we hear most frequently is, what data is being considered to determine if students will be part of the CES or ELC? The multiple measures in the central review process will be from the current school year and will include report card grades in reading, writing, and social studies, student instructional reading level, and the winter measures of academic progress in reading, commonly referred to as MAP-R. Student services will also be taken into account. Data will be collected centrally for current MCPS students. If you recently moved to MCPS or your student is currently homeschooled or in private school, please see our website to upload documents for consideration. Only report cards and specific test data may be uploaded. No other documents will be considered. If you are new and have questions about this process, please call DC CAPS. Another question many families ask is additional testing required to be considered for the CES or ELC? No additional testing is necessary for current MCPS students. The central review process will consider data that is already collected as part of the ongoing instructional cycle, including MAP-R and report card data. No cognitive abilities assessment is required. For students who live in Montgomery County and are homeschooled or attending private school, a nationally normed external assessment is required. Please see the website or call DC CAPS for more information. Many have also wondered about the benefits of using a lottery to place students in the Centers for Enriched Studies. The central review process reviews all grade 3 students to determine needs for enriched and accelerated literacy instruction. This process has revealed thousands of students who meet the criteria for enriched literacy instruction. Building a pool of students who meet this criteria allows for students to be served in regional or local programs. Using a criteria-based lottery to place students in programs instead of using a selection committee removes the subjectivity of community members, reduces a splitting hairs review of students within similar academic ranges, increases opportunities for students, and is a more transparent process. Another common question is, how are the curriculum available at the local school in ELC different from the Centers for Enriched Studies? Both the Centers for Enriched Studies and the Enriched Literacy curriculum provide an enriched language arts curriculum that is based on best practices in gifted education and use texts and materials that are above grade level. They are both programs for advanced learners that are based on the Maryland College and Career Ready standards. The CES is a centrally managed program. Students are grouped together for instruction in reading, writing, science, and social studies. The Centers for Enriched Studies is a regional program with students from several schools in a catchment or geographical area. Students may only be placed in the CES by the lottery process, and the number of classes and seats available are limited. The Enriched Literacy curriculum is offered by local schools. Students in the candidate pool are eligible for the ELC at their local school. Local schools can also place additional students with similar needs into the ELC class or classes in the school. Students in the ELC are grouped together for instruction in reading and writing. The number of ELC classes in a school may change year to year based on the needs of students at this particular school. Another thing many families wonder is what happens if we move? Center assignments are based on your current home address, so it's very important that if you move during this process, you let DC CAPS know, so your child will be considered for the correct program. If you move after placement has taken place and your child is invited to a program, attempts will be made to move your child to the closest center. However, this is not always possible because there are limited seats in each location. Our last frequently asked question before the panel discussion is about transportation. Several parents have asked if it is possible to take their neighborhood bus to school and then get on the bus to CES. Unfortunately, in most cases, this does not work. The bus from your local school to the center school will typically leave before your neighborhood bus arrives. To ride the bus to the Centers for Enriched Studies, students will generally need to be at the centralized stop earlier than they previously got on their neighborhood bus. Likewise, in the afternoon, the CES bus will often arrive at the local school after the neighborhood bus has departed. Families should plan on providing transportation to and from the centralized stop. Bus transportation for CES is only provided from these stops. Now we will transition to a panel discussion. Elise Antoine, instructional specialist from Accelerated and Enriched Instruction, will pose questions to a small panel, and we will answer to provide additional information about the Centers for Enriched Studies. Ms. Antoine, are you ready?
Thank you, Bonnie. The first question is, what math program will my student be taking in the center program?
Great, thank you, Elise. That's a great question. The Center for Enriched Studies is an interdisciplinary program. It's really designed to best meet the needs of our gifted and motivated learners in language arts, science, and social studies. Math is not a part of the CES curriculum. We do follow the MCPS curriculum, which we are using the Eureka Math at this time. So students will either go into the regular 4th grade curriculum or they'll go into the Math 4-5. If you remember from before, I had said that we go based on what the 3rd grade recommendation was from the homeschool. So again, it's based on the Eureka Math, regular grade 4 or the 4-5 compacted.
How many students are selected for the program?
Each CES class has 27 students. The number of seats at each center depends on the number of classrooms assigned to the center site. The programs at Barnsley and Chevy Chase have 3 classes or 81 seats each. Cold Spring, Drew, Fox Chapel, Clear Spring, Pinecrest, Oakview, and Mill Creek Town offer 2 classes or 54 seats.
If my student is invited to a regional program, how can we learn more about the school, staff, and program?
So each program will provide some type of information, whether that's through their website. They might have some virtual settings that you can go and take a look. Each website I know has something about their program. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to the principal to see what's happening and get your questions answered so that you can make that decision for you and your family.
Bonnie, how will vacancies in the program be filled?
Thanks, Elise. Should we have vacancies, students will be selected by lottery and invited from the wait pool as needed. As we shared in the presentation, if grade 3 students demonstrate a need for enriched and accelerated instruction, they will be placed in a lottery pool and will be offered enriched instruction at their local school or through a regional program for grades 4 and 5. After the first lottery is conducted, students remain in the lottery wait pool.
Bonnie, how do I know which program site my student will be considered for?
Your home address and high school cluster determines which site your students will be considered for. You can verify which high school cluster attends each site by checking our website.
Holly, what if my student doesn't want to stay in the program or it's not working for our family?
We work very closely with our homeschool teachers to make sure we do some activities that integrate both the homeschool and the Center for Enriched Studies so that they can make lots of friends, get used to the new routine, the new schedule, the transition into our school. If for some reason at the end of the day, or at the end of, however many weeks, your child really is feeling that they want to return to their homeschool, we really ask that you have that conversation with the teacher first and then include the principal as needed before you make that decision. We also ask that you really give it the first full marking period. And then if you do want to return to your homeschool, by all means, you have that right to return. But very rarely does that happen. In all the years that I've been the principal here at Clear Spring, I've only had a handful of kids return to their homeschool. So again, we ask that you work with the school, communicate with the teacher, communicate with the principal, and really give it that first marking period before you make that decision.
Can siblings attend the center school with my student if accepted?
If your student is invited to attend the magnet program next year, you may submit a change of school assignment request, or COSA, to make a request for your other child to attend the same school. These requests are reviewed for hardship and space availability. More information about the COSA process is available on the MCPS website.
What is the likelihood of my student being accepted into the middle school magnet if they attended or were accepted into the center program?
Good question, Elise. MCPS universally reviews all grade 5 students for the middle school magnet programs as it did for the Centers for Enriched Studies programs. Similar to the process for CES, the admissions process for the middle school programs considers multiple measures. Participation in the CES program is not one of these measures.
I may have more questions after this meeting. Who should I contact?
The primary contact people and information for DC CAPS and AEI are listed on the slide. Please reach out to DC CAPS with questions about the admissions process and to AEI with questions about the CES curriculum and program. As additional questions come in, we will add them to the frequently asked questions on the special programs website. Thank you so much for your interest and attention.